Lance Meadow with you here on GoColumbiaLions.com as Columbia returns home for 2 straight games in their own backyard after a 2-game road trip. And as always, I'm joined by interim head coach Mark Fabish. Coach, let's start with the last game against Yale. This was really the first contest this season where, unfortunately, things got away from you early with Yale jumping out to a 21-0 lead. And you have a meeting with your coaching staff every week. You have a game plan strategy. I'm curious, how much did things really dramatically have to change when the score got to that point in the first half?
Nothing. They obviously made more plays than we did, and that was reflected on the scoreboard. But there's only so much that you can change in that moment, and some of the things that they were able to do were just exploit maybe some missed opportunities on our end, and some plays that we were unable to make, and that they did, and that reflected in the score. They're a good football team, and once they got up, we were not able to respond necessarily in the manner that maybe we had in a couple of the others, but it was a great opportunity for us to continue to learn and continue to try and just find ways to improve and try and find ways to get better once the game was over, come Sunday, and then ultimately on Tuesday in practice, and hopefully today as we do the same.
Time of possession obviously was a big differential in that game. Yale was 11 of 17 on 3rd down and 4th down combined. Their ability to sustain long drives, when you look back, how much of a difference maker was that?
That was it. And if you didn't give the lead in as to why, that would have been my answer, was what they did on those terminal downs, and getting to makeable terminal downs, staying out of long down and distances, getting to the 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, being able to run and pass, and in their offense, using the quarterback as a runner and a thrower. Their playbook was entirely open in those scenarios, and that makes it tough on a defense when you can't say, well, this is a must run or a must pass situation, and they were able to take advantage of that versatility and like I said, that playbook being open in those situations, and it was reflected upon being, as you said, 11 for 17 maybe on 3rd downs or total, and sustaining those long drives and coming away with punts. I think we only had them punt twice in the whole game, and it's tough to win football games that way. And it's tough to win football games that way when you're not matching that on the offensive side, and that's what we have to do. If our defense is doing a great job getting off the field, then maybe the margin for error is a little bit greater on offense. If our offense is scoring a ton of points, then the margin for error on defense gets a little bit bigger. But when Yale was doing what they're doing, and we were performing the way we were on the other side of the ball, it makes for a long afternoon, and that's what it was.
You brought up the defense. Your unit has been synonymous with one of the best red zone defenses in the nation. They were #1 coming in, and Yale went 4 of 5, which was a bit of out of character, I would say, because of, once again, how steady the defense has been. Anything that jumps out to you about what changed it all with that performance versus what we saw previously?
No, nothing specific. I think the dual threat quarterback, they were able to do some things, and you saw, he ran in 2, I believe, right? Nolan Grooms. But nothing specific. It's on a play-to-play basis, and having to go 11 for 11 and make the plays when they're there. We're certainly capable of. We showed that we were capable of for 6 weeks of shutting people down in the red zone if they're able to get there. And we'll go back to what's worked, and that's executing, making plays when we have the opportunities to.
You brought up the mobility of Yale's quarterback. Then the previous week, you go up against a Dartmouth team that showcased 2. Now you move the calendar forward to Harvard. As you're shaking your head, you get 2 quarterbacks, and both are prevalent parts of the run game. So I know things are not identical, but how much playing those previous 2 opponents perhaps gives you a bit of an idea of maybe how Harvard will look to attack you?
Well, it gives you a little bit of an idea, but each team has their own identity, and the stat sheet might look similar in terms of quarterback carries, but how each team gets to that point is really unique to them. Dartmouth's plan of attack with how they run the quarterback, very different than Yale's. And Harvard is different than both of them. DePrima is fast. He can run, and so we're going to have to account for that. And Jaden Craig, who's a big, strong, physical athlete that can run you over and run around you. And both young men that I recruited from North Jersey, and so know very well that have the ability to make you pay if you're not accounting for them. And so that, in conjunction with Harvard's running back, who's outstanding, McLaughlin, another player from New Jersey, and their receivers on the perimeter, they're good. But we've played good offenses. We've played Penn's offense, which is outstanding. Dartmouth's offense that is scary and dangerous, and everyone else in between. Georgetown's doing some really good things on offense right now, and holy cow, Lafayette, right? And so we've played good teams. We've shown the ability to play some good defense against them, and that's what we expect, coming into this week against Harvard as well.
You look at the dynamics of this Harvard team. They scored 34 points at least in each of their first 5. The last 2 have been low-scoring affairs in comparison. They were under 20. How much has this Harvard offense evolved over time from what you've seen on film?
I mean, it's tough to tell, not being in their meeting rooms and not being at their practices. They've played 2 good defenses. Sure. Princeton is outstanding on defense, and so is Dartmouth. So 2 teams that obviously we know well, and not knowing what the game plans went into those contests look like, it's tough to tell. I know that they're scary. I know that they've got a lot of really good players. I know that you and I off camera have spoken about the tight end, Tyler Neville. I mean, and their offensive line's good. And so I know that we're going to get their best shot, independent of last week or week 1 and any game that they've played in between. They're a good football team and capable of playing some really good offense.
And that brings me to the parity of this league. As you well know, a lot of crazy things have happened so far in the Ivy League season, but Harvard, statistically and standing speaking wise, is tied with Princeton for first place. You went to Cambridge last season in a similar position, and this started a 3-game winning streak. How much do you look at yourselves in the role of spoiler again and use that at all as a motivational factor?
Not at all. We need to play good football. Like we need to be better than we were last week, regardless of the result. If the score was flipped against Yale, we know that we have to be better going into Harvard. I mean, that's our goal. Today needs to be better than yesterday's best. It has to. And we didn't get the win. That doesn't mean we can't change the goal. We have to be better than we were last week. And if our best yields a victory, awesome. But we're not looking at it and trying to do anything to Harvard's record or their standing, other than to do our best to improve ours.
Speaking, though, of that matchup from last season, and it is a different season, there's only so much you could take away, but Mark, the reason I highlight that is there were game-changing plays.
Yes.
The 2 block field goals. Scott Valentis gets an interception right out of the gates. How much do you turn back to that, at least as examples, to say, hey guys, we went in there, we were the underdog, and guys stepped up and try to get that out of the team once again, in terms of multiple facets of this team?
No question. I mean, it illustrates that we're capable, and when you play a game like we did against Yale, it's tough. It's tough because you come up short and you lose 35-7. But a year ago we played Yale and I don't know, they scored 40-something, right? And it was 40-something to 13. I don't know, something close to that. And so, when you play that game a year ago and you come back and show the brand of football that you're capable of playing, we'd be naive not to refresh the guy's memory of, hey, we're good. We're capable of being a really good football team. And we've shown that. We've been backed into a corner before. And, that phrase, that cliche of being back into a corner, illustrates that there's only one way to go. We can only go forward. you can't go this way, you can't go that way. We can only go this way, and that's where we are right now. And so the more guys that we can collectively get going forward, the better opportunity we have to be better than yesterday's best. And that really, we get to play Harvard this week, and with the goal in mind being better than yesterday's best, and we'll take it from there.
Before I let you go, I apologize, I buried the lead. You're clean shaven for those of everybody watching at home. We have to address this before we wrap up the interview. You've been sporting the beard. It's been a huge part of the storyline. So is this the opposite approach of the hockey playoff beard that we see players and coaches do to grow it, to gain momentum? Are you trying to reverse the voodoo, essentially, is what I'm asking you?
I don't know. I think I look a little bit younger, maybe clean shaven. You guys do such a great job setting up the lights and all that.
Well, it's to bring out the clean shaven.
I think it was reflecting a little too much with the white in my beard, and so I figured see what we could do about changing it up a little bit. But I appreciate you noticing, Lance.
Well, I had to, and who knows? Maybe you'll get a name, image, likeness deal out of
How
this
about it?
in terms of some shaving products. You never know. The players shouldn't be able to cash in as much.
No
exactly.
question.
I'm looking out for you any way I can.
I appreciate it, Lance. Thank you.
Well, Coach, best of luck, and it's always a pleasure sitting down with you. Thank you so much.
I appreciate your time, Lance. Thank you.
Columbia will host Harvard, kickoff 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Sean Fitzgerald and I will have the call on ESPN+. Have a good one.